What's up guys, it's me, Straw Hat Nate, and I'm back with a review of One Piece chapter 1113, titled Stalemate. So we have some juicy things to talk about this chapter because it's filled with a ton of new stuff. The cliffhanger that we got at the end of last chapter has been answered, and of course it turned out to be one of the most common theories. And this leads me into talking about how this chapter is one of those chapters where we go around and see a bunch of old characters, since everybody has to now react to Vegapunk's secrets being released to the world. And while this is all going down, the big battles on Egghead are still happening, and there are some big movements being made, especially with people like Sanji. And it all culminates at the end with a big world reveal by Vegapunk that he reveals on his broadcast. So if you want to know what this big reveal is at the end, stick around to the end of this video. Now, let's get into the chapter after you like and subscribe, please. First, the cover this week is a double-page spread, and it's a pretty fun one. Essentially what's going on is Nico Robin is playing chess, but the chess pieces are all members of the Straw Hat crew. All of them are unique pieces and they got their own little fun thing going on, but I think the cutest is Chopper, and that's because he is all of the 8 pawns that are on the board. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, this chapter starts from the end of the last. In Punk Records, St. Mars looks up while the broadcast is still going on in the background, being shown by the transponder snail that's also on the ground. And the broadcast is merely talking about coffee right now and not like the big major secrets yet. But now we see what Mars was actually looking at, which was bubbling last chapter, and it was Vegapunk's huge head that he cut off, and it's stuck in a cryogenic chamber. And Mars doesn't react like anyone else would in this situation because he's just really serious about his job, and he doesn't really find this head in a chamber being very interesting, I guess. But he does actually ask about the topic of death, because clearly Vegapunk is defying death by doing what he has done. And he wants to know if this head is the real Vegapunk, since the Stella body is dead down below. And it's just a really confusing topic. The discussion of Vegapunk's body is really weird, since this is just an insane fictional science. Remember that the Stella body, which holds the heart, is actually dead because the heart stopped beating, but the head, which holds the brain, is still able to function. But now, as Vegapunk is still talking about coffee on the broadcast, we check in around the world with some reactions, which is my favorite part of the chapter. We start in Syrup Village, where Mary is turning on the broadcast, and next to him, Kaya is sitting with the Usopp pirates, which is crazy because of how long it has been since we've seen these characters. Kaya seems fairly smart herself because she is educated on Vegapunk's medical contributions, since she herself is a medical student, I believe. And we check in on Crocus and Laboon also at the Twin Cape Lighthouse by Reverse Mountain. They don't say anything, but again, it's just cool to see old characters. Then we go to Baltimore, which is very knowledgeable of Vegapunk, since that's his hometown. And I'm sure some people in this panel personally knew Vegapunk, like the old guy that we get a close-up of. And there's also a joke here about Frankie's bounty poster being the Thousand Sunny, because the people of Baltimore are confused about that, like the rest of the world is. And on the next page, we see the Torino Kingdom and Hachinosu, showing how this broadcast is literally reaching the corners of the world, like even the most savage island. Now, as the 10 minutes come to a close and Vegapunk's getting ready to begin, Mars goes to step on the transponder snail that he thinks is responsible for the broadcasting. Well, it turns out that this transponder snail is a fake and he was tricked, which causes him to go crazy because the Gorosei need to end this somehow. So Vegapunk's plan has worked and the real broadcast is beginning now. Mars is freaking out, so he telepathically tells all the Gorosei that this is really bad for them, since he thinks that Vegapunk wants revenge for what happened with Clover and the rest of Ohara, and this is his way to get that revenge. Then Oda shows all the rest of the Gorosei equally as mad, all cursing Vegapunk as we see his dead, unconscious body next. Holding on to Vegapunk's dead body is Sanji, who is sprinting towards Bonnie's group as he hears her cries from a distance. Saint Nasjuro is engaged in a battle with Bonnie and Frankie currently as Sanji runs in, and he gets there just in time to kick Nasjuro in the face before he is able to do damage to anyone. Nasjuro bleeds, but I'm not sure if this means anything because he is a Gorosei and we've seen them have insane healing capability. But Sanji might be overstepping his boundaries here, and it's all just for a lady. Nasjuro transforms back into full Bakotsu mode, like his full skeleton horse, even the head, and then he bites Sanji. The good thing is that we have numbers here, so Oimo and Kashi, the giant friends of the Straw Hats, jump in to attack Nasjuro next, and after that, Bonnie also turns into a giant and jumps in to stomp on Nasjuro. Her distorted future power seems busted again by having her become a giant, and it really looks like the good guys are dealing significant damage to Nasjuro. But I know to be careful making assumptions like these, since he is a Gorosei. Now, we hear more of Vegapunk's message because he talks about how he committed a great crime against the world and he knows that he's about to be punished. That is why he created this broadcast in the first place, to release once his heart stops beating, and he wants all this information to get out. Vegapunk was able to plan ahead using his genius intellect, and we see some more reactions now, starting with Sabaody, where we see Duval of all people. Next up, we see Caesar Clown, who is actually with Germa 66 and Judge in the Germa Kingdom. If you remember from the cover story, Caesar went with Germa to form Neo-Mads. Caesar hates that Vegapunk is getting so much attention and recognition because he is simply jealous of him. Now, Morgans is shown, who is also really angry because of the technological advancements of the world. Morgans is not able to spin the news in his own way since the news is getting out from transponder snails. So he lost control. And Vegapunk, in his message, is saying something about not considering the world government evil just because they killed him. But I don't care because I think they are evil, and they've shown it through this arc. I'm sure if he reveals the dirty secrets of the world government, the One Piece world will consider him and the world government evil. Vegapunk also refers to him here, which we can understand to be Im-sama, showing that Vegapunk at least knows of Im's existence, but definitely doesn't know anything about him. But we cut away now, once again, to Nami's group now in the Labo phase. Saint Saturn has now climbed up the cloud, which is bad news for the Straw Hats here. And the chapter focuses a lot on Robin in this page, because Robin recognizes Saint Saturn's voice from the O'Hara incident, and she is still shaken up by it. Robin is still scarred from back then, and now she has to reface her fears by facing Saint Saturn. And meanwhile, Saturn intends to just kill her since Akainu failed to do so way back when. Robin has friends now though, which is the important thing. So Nami commands the group to protect her, and they all start attacking Saint Saturn together. Brook, Usopp, Chopper, and Nami all perform pretty useful attacks to hold off Saint Saturn for a while. And I want to talk specifically about Nami here because, first of all, she's being a great leader. And then second of all, she's able to use Zeus, which makes her so much more powerful. And as a whole, their defense is working enough to annoy Saint Saturn, which is a good thing. And then the final scene of the chapter starts now, where Mars is flying in Itsumade form, and he is ready to start destroying everything because he is mad that he can't stop this broadcast by Vegapunk. York, his partner in crime, is also struggling herself because she wants to find a solution for the Gorosei so she can become a celestial dragon. Mars asks the other Gorosei if he should start destroying stuff, but Saturn and Mercury refuse because they need Vegapunk's stuff for their own use, such as like the Mother Flame. Meanwhile, Vegapunk is starting at the conclusion as his first secret that he releases. What he knows will happen in the future. Vegapunk exclaims that this world will sink into the sea, a claim that has some evidence to back it up. And we all remember the recent floods caused by Im-sama's use of the mega weapon, and I'm sure that Vegapunk himself knows a lot about this, as he's a man of science. Vegapunk has likely studied the tides, and he sees a problem, which led to this theory that the world's gonna sink. But that's where chapter 11-13 ends. Vegapunk really has the upper hand even though he's dead, which is kind of funny. While the last chapter I would have said the Gorosei have the clear advantage, this chapter might prove that it's more of an even fight than it seems, which is the reason why the chapter is called Stalemate. Nesjuro is getting dogpiled, Saturn is also getting dogpiled, Mars is just super mad, and then Jupiter and Mercury are preoccupied with fighting Luffy. So the Gorosei in general are just struggling. And then also, Vegapunk releasing this information to the world can be considered a game changer off the battlefield. And I love to see all the people's reactions to the news throughout the chapter because it is nice to recognize old faces that Oda has made and has brought back with this chapter. And I'm waiting to see what else Vegapunk has to say because the sinking theory is definitely just a mere surface of what he's going to talk about. He said he's starting with the conclusion in the future, but he's most likely going to talk a lot about the past. Unfortunately, we must wait to get more information out of Vegapunk since there's a break next week, but in 2 weeks we'll be getting that information hopefully. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe because it'll help me out greatly, and I'll see you in the next one.